Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Idea to Value podcast. I'm thrilled to have with me today John Carter. John is the founder of TCGen, an innovation specialist company, and he's also probably more famous for being the person who helped build the Bose Noise-cancelling headphones. So a real technological pioneer. I'm your host, Nick Skillicorn, and we're going to be talking about all of the ways that innovation can be really enhanced in companies. I'm thrilled to have John to give us his insights today. John, it's wonderful having you here.
Well, thanks, and hello from Silicon Valley.
Welcome to the Idea to Value podcast, where in every episode we highlight the latest insights into creativity and innovation from experts around the world. I'm your host, Nick Skillicorn. I care about the evidence behind what makes ideas happen, and I've already helped thousands of people just like you through my unique insights into recent scientific findings of how creativity works. I also show you how to turbocharge innovation programs so they finally deliver on the value and ideas you've been struggling to execute. Get your free training on how creativity can be improved by registering now at www.ideatovalue.com. Now let's get on with today's episode. John, so people might not be aware of your history and your journey on the road of innovation. Can you just give us a brief background as to where you got started and how it led to where you are now?
Yeah, a Twitter-length summary of what I've done in the way of innovation started as a graduate student at MIT, where I had the opportunity to be Dr. Bose's teaching assistant, Dr. Bose of the Bose Audio Company fame. And there I learned from a great master. This is someone that only teaches one course at MIT, and every day before he has a lesson, he prepares for it 2 hours. So he is a master at communication and also innovation. I started there as chief engineer, and one of my first projects was to work in the lab on what became the Bose noise-canceling headphone. And while there, I learned about many innovations that occur both on the technology axis as well as on the marketing axis. Bose was an innovator in both dimensions, which is very unusual. Besides Bose, I have a management consulting background, and I help companies innovate products faster. So I've seen innovation from the inside because I've done it, and I've seen it on the outside because I've worked with great companies who know how to do it well.
Now, I actually owned one of the, I think, second generation Bose noise-canceling headphones. And at the time, they were really quite revolutionary new technology, canceling out airline noise or whatever noise was around you. But this, because it was such new technology, how did that actually come about? How do you fit innovation and especially innovation processes into something that needs to meet a certain level of quality before it's really ready for the masses?
It's a really great question, and part of this actually is a story around innovation and the many pitfalls you can have, Nick, because what happened when we started out, so it started as a cocktail napkin sketch, truly, and a discussion, and it began as a way to improve the sonic quality of headphones. The focus was to improve bass response, not noise canceling. So we were actually working on the wrong remit when we started because we thought we had a great solution to better sounding headphones that would sound great from across people's head size and wearing glasses and not wearing glasses. Now the noise canceling headphone does that. But we only learned about the value of noise cancellation when we started sharing it with organizations in the Army and the Air Force, and they had great interest because it enhances communication. Well, we got squared away a little bit on what the value prop was, but it was fantastic to really realize, and a shock to realize, that the inventors did not know the key benefit before they actually exposed it to customers. The other thing, Nick, is that we had this situation where it took us too long to get to market. And the reason was that we wanted to perfect it. But as I mentioned earlier, we're really optimizing on the wrong kind of dimensions, meaning sound quality as opposed to noise canceling. But fortunately, we got great feedback, and we were able to really focus and get it to market with a winning product. But I must tell you, and we talked a little bit about this, is the importance of innovating in distribution channels. Most people think of innovation as all product. It's not true. And in fact, what we found in the case of the noise canceling headphones, as well as the Bose radio, is that the distribution channels couldn't accept the products that we were inventing. In other words, traditional bricks and mortar stereo shop would not sell headphones for $300, would not do it. So we actually invented new distribution channels that were direct. So we had innovation along the product line as well as on the technology to bring this to market. Eventually it found its way into retail. Didn't start that way.
So what was the actual journey within Bose? You said you started out trying to fix one problem, and then at some point, insights came that this could be used for a different, perhaps more marketable, more mass market problem. Um, what was the reaction amongst the team developing the technology and the leadership? Was there ever this conflict to try and get it out faster, or trying to spend more time than needed be in actual development?
This is a huge problem. Now, we were fortunate in that the innovation team was just two people. It was myself and Dr. Bose. So you would kind of think, well, there should be no problem with the marketing organization, say, taking hold and really pushing for it. Just the opposite at Bose. The marketing department hated to see Dr. Bose work on new products. Why? Because they're hard to market. And Bose had this wonderful, he had two basic product vision guidelines that were great. And that better implies different, not the other way around. That was the first one. In other words, to be better, you truly need to be different. But being different for just the sake of being different does you no good. And the second was better sound from small packages. So these two very simple product visions were part of what we were working on and helped align our innovation work with the market. However, when we came up with both the noise canceling headphones and the Bose Wave radio, the fact of the matter is that these did not fit any kind of competitive grid that our marketing people understand. You know, the typical tendency is what I call checkbox marketing, where if you have competitor A and competitor B in your product, you fill out the matrix of features with check marks. But the fact of the matter is we don't market it that way. Second is we really don't have the luxury of selling our products at great discounts. R&D is expensive. And so our products are expensive. So the marketing department had a great difficulty with our products because they'd be priced factor of 2 above competitors or 5 above competitors. How do you sell that? It's a real problem.
So you started out at Bose, and I understand that you've now taken your insights on what it takes to create new products to different companies. Can you tell us a bit about your experience there?
Yeah, this is really interesting. So a couple things that I've learned, which is very counter to culture or beliefs, which is innovation is not a team sport. Innovation is done with 1 or maybe 2 people, not a large group. To actually turn, and this is the ideation part, which I think is, there are 2 hard parts in innovation that our clients struggle with. The first is that great lightning flash, the great idea. The second is how do you commercialize that great idea? Typically in the area you just asked about, Nick, which was the transfer from, let's say, engineering into marketing and the difficulty marketing departments have with innovation. So you have 2 kind of challenges. One of the things that we found very successful in working with clients is creating essentially a discovery organization to help with that. Reason it's called discovery is that innovation occurs all throughout the organization. And we didn't want to have a special team that had an innovation charter and the rest of the company didn't. So we framed it as product discovery. What we did is we tried to fund it adequately, just like venture capitalists would do. And so we used a rule of thumb, which is about 10,000 euros per engineer, per technical person and marketing product owner types. You look at their salary in aggregate and you look at the numbers in aggregate and you multiply the total headcount by $10,000. And that should be your recurring investment in innovation, which is not called innovation, it's called discovery, but it's basically for transformational work. And the way you make it successful is actually attacking three things. Most companies only look at process, innovation process. How do we do this better, faster, with more people, et cetera. But the fact of the matter, they're missing two of the other key ingredients for successful inventions that reach markets. And that is a governance or leadership model that ensures that it will survive the transfer from this protected discovery zone into broader organizational acceptance. And the other is funding, which I did mention. So you need funding, which I mentioned, governance, which is a cross-functional leadership team with people in customer customer sales responsibilities, customer success, customer support. They have to be part of the governance to make sure that you put in hooks and abilities that you can accommodate their requests, let's say to instrument it for feedback on data, for example. So you need the right kind of leadership across the whole innovation spectrum. You need the financial horsepower that you replenish every year, often twice a year. And then the third thing you do need is you do need a process. And one of the most important things to do is buffer essentially small full stack teams of maybe 2 to 4 individuals from the rest of the organization. And Nick, we created in some examples a really cool virtual skunkworks. And what we did is we cut these folks off the Slack channel, gave them a different email address, and basically isolated them from the noise and overhead of being an employee in a typical corporation. So we created the notion of a virtual startup in this discovery team. Those are some of the things that we found that have been really successful.
It sounds like what you're advocating is very similar to the general advice of creating independent, separate organizations to focus on being able to plan out and actually do innovation. But there's been a lot of backlash over the last couple of years within large companies who've tried the incubator, who've tried the innovation lab, and it's very good at developing ideas. Sometimes it's even very good at going through the process of developing an MVP, but it doesn't necessarily land back in the company and scale into a reliable long-term venture. What's your sort of insights on why that might occur and what companies need to do differently?
Oh, why it's natural why it occurs, and it's fierce. And the reason is that people, these functional managers already have their operating budgets for the year. They've got their plans. They're held accountable by OKRs and KPIs to deliver on the program plan that they agreed to, let's say in January. And here you come with a new invention. It's going to be harder to market, probably higher in customer service costs, and insanely difficult to support. People don't understand its value proposition. And here you are, you're ruining their planned year by this unplanned innovation that's actually going to be difficult. So it's fundamental that these kinds of organizations have these projects. I've been a functional manager, and I know how unwelcome they are to perturbations in their yearly plan. So the question is, how do you solve that? There are a couple ways. First of all, I don't want to diminish the fact that this is a real problem. It absolutely is, and we all have experienced it. But a couple ways. One is this governance mechanism. So you make sure that individuals in leadership positions have visibility so that they know this activity is going to be landing in their laps in May, and so they can start planning for it in November. So foresight is critical so they can include them in their operating budget. Second is you have to realize, even though you're in a protected, let's say, discovery organization, you have to instrument your product or equip it to satisfy the needs of these other subsequent organizations. Many entrepreneurs don't listen to internal customers. They only listen to external customers. So they don't deliver the total product. They deliver a core product that doesn't deliver what it needs to for the organization. So I think, Nick, the best way to really solve this problem is not to disband these organizations, but figure out how you can effectively insert them into the normal business operating plan so that they're successful once they leave the let's say, innovation organization.
Now, one company that I think everyone associates with innovation and actually delivering innovative products is Apple. And I understand that you actually worked on some of their innovation capabilities and processes. Can you
Right.
tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. And there are lots of misperceptions. So we helped create the ANPP, or Apple New Product Process, which is a lightweight, responsive development process that's used across their organizations that is very pro-innovation. And I think one of the misconceptions that many people have is that Apple comes up with a great idea that didn't exist before, and they go out and market it through some flash of insight. Well, the fact of the matter is that, yes, these invention ideas do occur, but Apple goes at great lengths to understand their customer, how their customer will use it, and so they don't make errors on a lot of the many small aspects that make their products truly great. If you look at the iPod or the iPhone, for example, the attention to detail on the product in terms of Jonathan Ive's design or the technical realization is all really well thought out, and that has plenty of customer feedback. What doesn't have customer feedback is solving problems that didn't exist before. And that's what Apple is really known for. And they have a real capability to do that because they combined not only innovation with tremendous executional capability. It's really a unique combination. And I think we've seen as the organization with Cook's leadership has continued to basically carry the torch for Steve Jobs and really diversify into services, which is a huge shift the company has been going through. So again, it looks at product and distribution from totally fresh eyes.
John, it's been wonderful speaking with you. If we can just have one parting thought from you, what is something that you see a lot of companies struggling with at the moment when it comes to making the most of their innovation, and what sort of capabilities can they build to really overcome those?
You know, I think it's foresight. It has to do with the tripod that I mentioned, having the right leadership, the right process, and the right financial means. Get that together with planning, and you'll deliver really excellent innovations to the marketplace.
Fantastic. If people want to find out more about you and the work that you do, what's the best place they can go to find out more?
Sure, I think there are two places. The first is go to our website, tcgen.com, stands for Technical Product Innovation or Technical Concept Generation, TCGEN. And the second is you can check out my book, Innovate Products Faster by John Carter. Thank you so much, Nick.
And thank you so much. I've really enjoyed chatting with you, and I look forward to speaking again with you soon.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave me a comment about what you thought and what you'd like to see more about. If you want to take your creativity and innovation capabilities to the next level, then invest in yourself with the premium training only available at ideatovalue.com. These exclusive training modules have all been put together by me, Nick Skillicorn, and have been used by thousands of artists, innovation leaders, and CEOs to become better at understanding the source of their creativity and executing on their innovation ambitions. And there is no risk to you, as they are backed by our money-back guarantee. Now, don't forget to go out there and make your ideas a reality. See you again soon.